Director of Officials, coming up at the top of the hour. In the meantime, Chris Fanini of The Athletic joins us. He covers the Sun Belt Conference and all of college football. And Chris, thanks a lot for being with us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm a subscriber, so I'm a big fan. Enjoy your work.
I appreciate that.
So one of the things that was very interesting about what you did in your coverage of the Sun Belt is you did a fan participation poll, a survey on a bunch of different topics. And I found that, almost 3/4 of the people that responded were heavily in favor of the expansion, keeping of divisions. Kind of run through your thoughts on what you found in that survey.
Yeah, we got more than 400 Sun Belt fans responded to the survey, and I asked them to rank, from 1 to 5. How do you feel about the membership in the conference? And 73% gave it a 5. That's up from, I think, 19% a year ago. So there's a lot of excitement from Sun Belt fans about the new teams. Season ticket sales are up in the league as well. So there's a lot of excitement in the Sun Belt.
So obviously, Chris, this was a year where conference realignment happened en masse, right? It was kind of unprecedented how it happened. Some conferences, like Conference USA, got picked off. Some combined. There were some interesting combinations. The Sun Belt not only remained intact, but added new teams. Why do you think they were able to do that?
They were in a position where, they didn't need to make a move if they didn't have to. They felt comfortable in the teams that they had. The budgets at the schools fit within the conference. They're all within driving distance generally within each other, and that's exciting for traveling Olympic sports teams, traveling football teams, traveling fans. And so everybody in the league was kind of together on what they wanted to be, and then you find teams within the footprint already to add to the conference, and it fits really well.
Yeah, they kind of bucked the trend in a day and age where it seems like conference expansion is driven by TV markets, i.e. the Big Ten going out to Los Angeles to get the number 2 TV market in the country with USC and UCLA. I guess it remains to be seen how many of those fans actually watch those teams on TV, but I guess that doesn't...
Or travel to it.
Exactly. Maybe it doesn't matter. We'll see. But you get the TV market nonetheless. But with the Sun Belt, it's driven by geography and creating rivalries, which they're going to do here, especially in the Eastern Division now that App has Marshall and James Madison all within proximity. They've got some teams that are really close for those fans.
Well, of course, remember last year, Appalachian State hosted Marshall on a Thursday night, and they sold out the stadium. Yeah. So that's a game that matters to both of those groups. And this does help the TV situation in the Sun Belt. Keith Gill announced yesterday that there's an expanded deal with ESPN, and that's in part because of who they added and the rivalries it's going to create. So I think Appalachian State's within 4 or 5 hours of driving within everybody in their division. And that's exciting. That's going to get more fans in the stadium, and that helps the revenue too. TV money is important, but so is getting fans in the crowd.
Chris, I want to get specific about some of the teams here. Let's start with Louisiana. They've been the standard bearer in the West for the last 4 years. They've won that side of the conference. A lot of change. Losing the quarterback, losing the offensive line. Guys leave via transfer portal. Also, Billy Napier leaves, the head coach. Michael DeZormo is brought in as the coach. He was a former assistant there. Is he the guy? And why do you think he can be the one that, amongst all this change, can still keep that program afloat?
Well, few people know that team better than him. I mean, he's a former player there. He knows that place. He lives that place. And so the recruiting that he did under Billy Napier and previous staffs went very well, so that's going to continue. This first year, there will be a transition. You lose Levi Lewis at quarterback. You lose several talented running backs. There's a lot to replace. But I think the recruiting that they've done at Louisiana the past few years, the top recruiting team in the conference the past few years, there is a lot to be excited about his future there.
There are 2 things that define college football today, 2 topics. That's the transfer portal and it's NIL. Texas State has embraced the transfer portal like no other program in the nation. 32 signees this year, 29 of them are from the transfer portal, including 3 players and a Baylor quarterback just last week. So this is a grand experiment. For a long time, college coaches said, you can't do that, it'll destroy team chemistry, blah, blah, blah. Well, Jake Spavital is truly embracing it. We're going to find out whether this experiment works or not.
Yeah, if you want to bring veteran, experienced players into your program, that's how you do it. And he's done it for several years now. And remember, he's in Texas state of Texas where I live, where high school teams have indoor practice facilities and really good facilities. And Jake has said that they've had to travel down to high school sometime to do some work. And so it makes Texas State a difficult job in some senses, but he's also recruiting to what he needs to get at Texas State, I think, to turn that around.
Chris, I want to talk about Troy real quick because I look on the preseason Sun Belt Conference All-American teams and I see 7 players from Troy on it. Yet I also see the last 3 seasons they've gone 5-7, 5-6, 5-7. They make a coaching change to John Summerall. Is he the guy? Is he the guy that can get this roster that seems to be full of talent to finally play to that level that they need to?
Well, I've heard really good things about John from people who worked with him at Kentucky and other places, and he knows Troy. He coached at Troy before under Neil Brown and some other places. So again, it's another coach taking over a program that he knows that place. And he takes over, like you said, a really good situation, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They've got some experience at quarterback. So I think he comes into a situation as a first-year head coach where it's not a rebuilding job. They haven't made bowl games the past few years and whatnot, but there is a lot of talent there. And I think you see that with that preseason team.
Expanding out the topics a little bit, Keith Gill, commissioner, just signed a 4-year contract extension, obviously, and also your fan survey led to that as well. They like him. The fans like him. Obviously, the university presidents in this conference like him too. But the thing we were talking about was with the commissioners having a meeting and the CFP, the college football playoff, and the discussions, even though maybe not publicly, at least among the commissioners, was the idea of a 12-team playoff still does exist. And that's something that the Sun Belt favors. If they're able to get to a 12-team playoff, how soon do you think it would be before the Sun Belt could get a team in it?
Well, the Sun Belt, the past few years they've had top 25 teams. They're getting more teams into bowl games. Appalachian State, Louisiana, the past few years have been really close to that. Louisiana and Coastal Carolina in 2020 were really close to that. And with Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF leaving for the Big 12 in the future, that's going to open up a spot for a lot of people. I mean, there have been a lot of teams that could have had a chance there, but those 3 have gotten the majority of those group of 5, near 6 bowl spots right now. So you replace that with a 12-team playoff potentially, or whatever it looks like. And if a group of 5 team gets in there, the Sun Belt is positioned with several of its teams to potentially be in that mix.
I want to just ask one more question about a team. South Alabama, they had a great defense. Kane Womack came in, I thought did a good job kind of reinvigorating that program. But they lose, I think, 5 of their last 7 games of the season. Defense is phenomenal. Kind of missing that quarterback. Jake Bentley came in, played well, but then got injured. Now he's gone. Now they're left without a quarterback right now, right? They're bringing Carter Bradley from Toledo. Is he the guy? Can South Alabama finally get some offense to go along with that defense?
Well, that's the big question. Kane Womack, a defensive guy, he really excelled on that side of the ball when he got there. But the question is going to be offense. That was the case as they kind of stumbled down the stretch. We'll see kind of in fall camp coming out who is that person, but I think the way South Alabama has recruited moving forward, things are on the upswing under Kane Womack, but you're going to have to get that offense figured out. That starts at quarterback.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Grayson McCall, the 2-time player of the year in this conference, they've actually launched a Heisman Trophy campaign for him. I don't know how realistic that is for a group of 5 player, but it certainly is ambitious. He's a rock star. He's one of those players that transcends a group of 5. Usually people don't know the names of group of 5 players, certainly fans in Power 5 conferences, but everybody knows Grayson McCall. What's the ceiling for this guy?
He broke the FBS record for pass efficiency last year, and he's going to try to do that once again. I think that 2020 season where he was one of the star players of that year, the BYU game where they upset BYU, that season where Coastal came out of nowhere to surprise everybody. And you talk about the mullet that he has, the comment he made when he announced he would return to Coastal Carolina, saying that he pisses teal.
The best. The all-time best comment ever. We asked him about that yesterday. It's great.
Yeah, Jamie Chadwell, the coach, was wearing a shirt that had that, and Grayson said he's got some shorts coming out of his own with NIL, which is good. You should be able to make some money on that. So,
well, if indeed he does, then maybe they need to conduct a drug test. I don't know. I'm just saying. So anyway, Chris, thanks a lot for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Chris Vanini of The Athletic. Check out his work. It's really good stuff, as is all the stuff in The Athletic. Comprehensive college football coverage. Sun Belt Football Media Day.